Hey guys, what's up? It's Scott with Everyday Home Repairs, showing you probably one of the top 5 repairs any homeowner does, and rightfully so, because you can save yourself a couple $100 by replacing your own kitchen faucet. We're actually in our laundry room, but we have a full-size kitchen sink and faucet in here. So we're gonna swap out this old Moen that has a handle off to the side. We're gonna replace that with a sprayer, and then a pretty similar base here with the Delta right behind me. This is a very common, it's called the Classic, literally, Delta faucet and sprayer. And why I prefer to spend a little bit more on Delta is because if there's an issue with the valve in the future, I'm really confident that I can go out and get a replacement valve for less money and definitely less time to install than replacing the whole faucet itself. So I'm just planning for the future and willing to spend maybe the 15 to 25 extra dollars. This one cost me just a little bit over 105, but it has the supply lines built in. So we'll dig into that a little bit more later, but first let's jump in and show you what tools you're gonna need. Tools needed for this install. I have various sizes of channel locks and crescent wrench for removing any of the nuts, and then also a set of pliers and a Phillips head screwdriver. A light source is recommended, and definitely eye protection since you'll be working overhead and you don't want to get anything in your eyes. If you do this relatively often, a rigid sink and faucet tool comes in super handy. And depending on the condition of your faucet, you might need some WD-40 or vinegar to help loosen up those nuts. So let's jump into the removal of the old faucet. First thing I'd like to do, one, I've cleaned out the cabinet. I just want as much space in the sink base as possible. And first I want to remove these supply lines. Now you might not be as fortunate to have newer shutoff valves here. And these are great because these are just a quarter turn and that would be the off position. You might have more like a T handle, like the old classic T handles that you got to do multiple rotations for it to get to shut off. Those can be very cheaply made, mostly plastic components, and even just slightly turning them, you can start to get water leaks and they can actually break. So before you jump into this, before you start disturbing in this area, make sure you know where your water shutoff is, your main house water shutoff. If you don't know what that is, let me jump in and show you an example. So this main water shutoff is in the basement. You can easily tell this is a water meter, so it's metering and measuring the flow of water coming into your home. And then here's your main shutoff. It is in the on position because it's parallel to the path of the pipe or flow of the water. To turn it off, all you got to do is go perpendicular. This is something that you need to know about your apartment or home, and you should be comfortable going out and making sure that it's functioning before you need it. If you spring a leak and you don't know where it's at and you're running around, that's where you can get into trouble. So if your shutoff valves or lines are not labeled, one question could be, is this the hot or cold side? So what you can do is turn on your faucet, then turn it either to one side completely or the other. It doesn't matter cold or hot, either will work. Let the water get to its steady state temperature. Then identify whether it's cold or hot. This one is cold. Now with the water still running, go ahead and just feel the lines. I can easily tell that this side is the cold side and this side is the warm side. So I'm going to mark this valve with some tape. You don't literally need to have red tape, but just mark it, and that's going to be my hot side. So I'll know that later on to match up the new faucet water supply lines. All right, with the valves in the off position and a towel and bucket handy, we'll now remove the water supply lines. All right, water supply lines out of the way. Now we're moving on to actually removing the nuts that secure the faucet to the sink. Here, over on my valve side, I have one nut I'm going to have to remove. Overall, I'm happy. It's in pretty good condition. If this had a lot of white and green debris, that would be mineral deposits. Sometimes that can really fuse the nut to the threads and make it super hard to get out, especially with this sink base right in the way, so it's hard to get any leverage. That's where the vinegar comes in handy. So you can soak this in vinegar if it has mineral deposits, and that could help to break that up and make it so this nut's much easier to get off. Conversely, you might have a bolt or nut on this side that is holding down the main base of the faucet. This one, again, is in pretty good shape. Yours might look a little different. It might be very corroded. If it's corroded, that's where the WD-40, you would soak that in WD-40, wait 5 minutes, soak it again, and continue that process to help eat away at the rust and then make that nut so you can actually get it off the bolt. So I'm going to jump in and remove these 2 nuts. All right, with the center nut removed now and any water lines disconnected, you should be able just to lift this guy out. There you go. All right, give you guys a little close up to the second one I need to remove. This one's going to be much tougher. You can see the mineral deposits build up there, which are going to make that nut a lot harder to remove. But this is where I'm going to use a little vinegar and try to dissolve some of those minerals. All right, switch to sides here so I can get a better grip on this nut. Also, I have somebody securing from the top side, because if not, this would just swivel or pivot within the hole. So what I got to do is get a good grip on this side and then have somebody on the top. You could do this by yourself, but it's just easier for somebody at the top to hold. And then I'll just give it a good turn. All right, seemed like it moved. All right, good. This, I think, is the hardest part of the project, is just not getting ahead of yourself, not getting worked up, taking your time, and then getting these removed, there you go, without any damage to your sink or just damaging anything that you're not gonna be replacing. Crazy instances, maybe you need a hacksaw. I've seen sawzalls. But here, I think we got it. All right, and jump down to the comments. Let me know, does your pile look worse or better than mine? Most important is that it's all out of here. Also important is for you guys to hit that like button if this video is helping you out. And I'm gonna tackle and just clean up the sink, getting ready to install the new faucet. So if you guys have made it this far, congratulations. I think the toughest part is over by far. It's always harder getting the old hardware. It's all corroded and crusted up, removed. So I have 4 holes here. The sink base and faucet and valve are gonna go in these center 3 holes, and then the sprayer is gonna go in the 4th hole. Using the Delta Classic, like we talked about at the start. And if you wanna know exactly this one that we're using, just look down in the description. You'll see that link to this product. Why I like this one, and it costs a little, you can get one cheaper, but watch out, it won't come with the integrated supply lines. So these come with the hot and cold supply lines 32 inches long, and that should fit your need. If you're questioning that, just measure your old supply lines that you removed and make sure that those are under 32 inches. So let's take a look inside. All right, so you got your instructions, which is probably not your favorite. Who needs those, right? That's why you got me. And then let's go through the parts here. You got the sprayer base here, which is gonna go in my 4th hole off to the right-hand side. We have the sprayer itself and hose. The nice thing about this one is it has a quick disconnect and all the seals built in, and this will match up with this receiver end and makes for a very easy install. Then we have the gasket that's gonna go underneath the base, and then the overall unit itself. Get this guy out of here. So they got those supply lines that you'll see cold and hot, and then 2 mounting nuts that are gonna go into each side. So we'll go ahead and install. So first up, we're just gonna pass everything down through the holes. First, you're gonna wanna put the gasket, which is marked front, and there is a lip here that you'll put in the center hole. You don't have to get everything perfectly lined up quite yet. You'll have time to do that once we kind of tighten things up. So put that trim piece in there, push it down and through. That's gonna go over here. That's for the sprayer, so we'll drop the sprayer. Alright, and that can just lie loose there. We're gonna, again, secure it here in a second. Okay, all of these have to go down through the center. Just make sure that base is on the gasket and that's all centered up, because you don't want to start tightening it and that not be correctly installed. So just loose fit. Now let's jump under and put the nuts on. All right, now from the bottom side, we'll place the 3 mounting nuts. Then you're gonna snug these down. You're not going to completely tighten them yet, but we do want to provide tight enough endpoint where we can jump back up and position the faucet and then maintain that position and come down for the final tightening. For this model, the only mounting nut that you have to pass through the hose is for the sprayer itself. All right, so now from the top side, just make sure you like the positioning of everything. So I tightened them enough where this is holding pretty well, but I could move it if I wanted to. So I like that position of the faucet. Sprayer looks solid, so now I'm gonna jump down and do the final tightening. All right, so now here's where that rigid multi-tool comes in pretty handy, because these slots at the end of it match up to the slots on the mounting nuts. So it makes it really easy to tighten these. It also has a hole in the middle, so lines such as this can pass through, and you can still tighten the nut. Okay, now with the mounting nuts all secure, we're going to connect up the sprayer. This is where these quick disconnects are sweet. So all you do is pop this clip off, open that up, take out the insert. Then you'll take your sprayer line and just pass that where the insert was at. Get a good seal, and then just pop that clip back in place. Now try to pull it back out and make sure you have everything seated correctly, but it's pretty hard to mess up. The only thing I'd watch out for is don't loop this line around your drain pipe here, the P-trap, because if you do, it will limit the extension of your sprayer. So just make sure it's free, so if you want to use the sprayer, you can extend it out as designed. Okay, so next step is connecting the water lines. The nice thing is these have, I'll show you, these have color-coded ends to them. So this is the cold water, and then you'll have red for the hot water. Pretty easy to match up with the red tape here. So you'll want to make sure that they're correctly positioned for cold and hot. And also, these are a little longer. So what I do is just loop them up and around so there is one loop in them. And then I install the end here, and I'll just get it snug. If you want to make these custom length, you can. All you have to do is you'll cut them to the length, and it needs to be a nice, clean, straight cut without squashing that line there. And then also they'll come with these little inserts, which is needed for the compression fitting to make a correct seal. If you do not cut them, you're ready to go just as is, and they have it built into the end, into that color-coded part, which will make the correct seal with this compression fitting. So I'll just install both of these and tighten them up. All right, now once done with that, you're ready to test out your valves by slowly turning them on. You'll hear the pressure. And then you just want to check for any leaks initially. If everything looks good, then you'll turn on the water to test it out. And you'll test both the cold and hot side, and just let that run for 30 seconds or 60 seconds, making sure you're not getting a slow drip from the shutoff valve here, and that these are going to be good and leak-free for years to come. All right, with no leaks down below, all I'll do is do one final check. Just make sure your cold water is cold, your hot water is hot, and then also I would do a test on the sprayer. Make sure to use the sprayer and to check that quick disconnect down below, also to make sure that that's all correctly seated and there's no leaks. All right, so we got the faucet installed, checked for leaks, and now we're good to go. If you guys have any comments, especially on the removal side, I understand all the different situations, all the different designs over the years, so I get that yours might not have went exactly like this one, but I'm here to help. So jump down in the comments, let me know what's going on, and maybe I can help you work through if there's any issues. Overall, highly recommend the Delta products. They make a really good faucet, and they'll last much longer than some of the off brands. All the info, tools, and parts will be down in the description for your reference. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, as we have videos like this coming out on a weekly basis to help you with your everyday home repairs. Take care.